This is the place to be.
Yeah. Innovation Days.
This is Morten from Inkish. Good morning. I have the pleasure of talking to my good friend Erwin from Ricoh. Erwin, welcome here on Inkish.
Thank you, Morten. I'm glad to be here. So,
you know what I like, especially the last time when we met in person, I think it was in Brussels, is that I think that you and we are a little bit nerdy, right?
So, what else then, except of the Belgian beer, did you like about that visit?
I like the fact, as I said, that visiting you and you find the secret, not the secret, but the documents from the past where we actually understand a little bit about the amazing history that, of course, you've been part of, but also showcasing how technology has developed over these many years. I think that this is a testimony to also your dedication to the industry, right?
Indeed, so it is a passion. So I've been a long time in the graphic arts. I ventured only once or twice outside, but always came back because it is such a creative and innovative industry. So I always liked it, and I'm still passionate about it. That's true.
And working with Ricoh, I mean, I had the pleasure of being in Telford, talking to your colleagues just a couple of weeks ago, and see the VC80,000, see the Z75, and also seeing the software that Ricoh is also developing. It's not the worst place to be at these days, right?
Well, I think what is so interesting about Ricoh is that we have a very broad and adaptive portfolio. So we are present in cut sheet toner, in continuous feed inkjet, in sheet fed inkjet, but also in software and large format. And all those solutions, we are basically very adapted and geared up to the market in what we call co-innovation. We work very closely with our customers. We have a lot of elements to do so. We have round tables, we have innovation summits, the Ricoh Customer Council, so that are all testament to this drive for co-innovation and to develop together with customers, of course, the solutions that they need and to, of course, overcome the challenges that they have in the market.
I was just thinking that when we talk about the journey of Ricoh and also what you just mentioned about the let's say the broadness of your portfolio of technology, and I spoke to your colleagues because I mean, for a lot of people, Ricoh is so present in the printing industry that sometimes it's hard to believe that it's less than 20 years ago you entered this industry, right?
Yeah, so it has been an amazing journey. So starting basically at Drupa 2008, and then with some leap steps with the different events going to where we are right now, and of course with the broad portfolio becoming very present in a lot of markets of the graphic arts. So basically we're focusing in the graphic arts on commercial printing, on book printing, and of course also direct mail and data driven. But don't forget, we're also present in the corporate and enterprise market, where we are very active in what we call the vertical markets. To give a few ideas, so it's like retail, but also logistics and even food delivery. So with some of the customers, so that is testament so that the solutions that we develop are also picked up by a broader market than just the graphic arts.
Does that also mean that when you develop new technologies that you have let's say a wider scope in when you try to utilize the technology in these different verticals?
Well, in the verticals, of course, it's all about adapting because in the verticals, these people, the print is not their main business, so it is, of course, something that they need. And what very often is needed there is that the solution gets customized to their operations and their jobs. So, but in essence, it goes back to the graphic arts. You know, in graphic arts, even if we say the three main segments, commercial commercial print, book printing, and data-driven, so direct mail and transactional. It's all been driven by the applications that customers have. And don't forget, so it's very creative, so it allows, I always say that basically digital printing, the sky is the limit, and your only limit is your creativity. When I see still that a lot of customers in digital printing develop new and interesting applications, then you see that what digital printing really allows for them to do.
And I must say that every time one of the case studies that you have brought forward also with the VC80,000 from Sattler Media is really a great example of the first customer with the VC80,000, where you see that it's a mix of both transactional and commercial print, because they use that for adding value to the offset printed and the web offset printed jobs. And when I was there, I was blown away, because also Christian Heinecke obviously had this enormous passion for both the Ricoh technology, but also for how to utilize it. So it's a good ambassador you have there, right?
Yeah, and it's also testament to what we've seen happening in the market. So if we talk about Hunkeler Innovationdays, so it was initially a very much a transactional market. So, but I could say that since 2015, maybe even a little bit earlier, so you saw commercial printers coming to the Innovation Days and picking up equipment that was originally transactional, think about continuous feed inkjet, but developed more and more into commercial printing. And so we start showing with continuous feed inkjet applications that were before purely thought that could only be done with commercial and not in the transactional space. So I remember that in 2017 and 2019 we showed a photo album printed by a customer of ours on inkjet, on continuous feed inkjet. So that was an application where people thought that is normally not suited for it, but it was so. That is a development that you see, and the pickup by the commercial printing of equipment that was before only focused on the transactional world. But that by now, from a quality, cost and production point of view, being completely what they're looking for, and this is of course what you see, and the feedback that we're getting from customers like Sattler Media, where they really feel that this solution is also fitting what they need.
Despite all what you just said, you decided to bring the VC40,000 as, let's say, I know it got like a few new features and new inks and things like that to Innovation Days. Is that because that is actually the bridge where you can say it's still both focusing on the transactional market, but also a machine that is capable of more commercial work?
Well, Morten, so at Drupa we've shown the VC80,000 full force, and there was a lot of positive attention and of course a lot of commercial success afterwards. But this time we've chosen for the VC40,000. It's the first European showing of a complete VC40,000 with finishing, and we're showing a book printing application. So that was the real purpose. So we're showing also the VC80,000, but it's a single tower static. It also relates that we had to make some choices. So Hunkeler is not as big as Drupa.
That's true.
The same, although they do an effort, because in the current version, of course, the stand size has increased. But we had to make a choice. And so the VC40,000 was the world best-selling continuous feed inkjet press in 2023 and 2024. So we thought since we had never shown it in Europe, so that this was the good moment to bring it full force at the stand with complete finishing and running. So where with the VC80,000, it is of course a static display. Don't forget, we'll also be showing the Z75, not live of course, but with our virtual in a tool on the stand. Of course you can walk up and ask for a demo, and with the virtual software that we have, we can give you a good show of the Z75.
Wow, amazing, Erwin. I was also thinking that I remember now when you said that about the VC40,000, that it was the best-selling continuous feed printer. I also think that as if I remember right from when I was in Telford, your colleagues also said that the market in the US for Ricoh is quite different from the market in Europe. And of course, if you can learn from the Americans what you can bring to the market in Europe and vice versa, then you basically optimize your distribution and your sales opportunities as well.
Yeah, of course, the US market is quite different from the European market. It is more homogeneous, so you have larger companies compared to more fragmented business in Europe with smaller companies. And the focus was there, of course, a lot on some big transactional companies where they were very successful. But we've picked up a lot of those ideas and basically applications that customers have been using there, and of course transferring them also here in Europe. And so it seems to also catch on and be of interest. But don't forget, transactional as a business is going down. But it's still a very good business, of course. But compared to other segments, it is, of course, one of the segments that is going down in number of prints.
But that is also like, and I think we spoke about that when we met last time as well, is that, you know, it's always a question, when is the technology ready to replace, let's say, analog offset printers? And of course, there's like one thing is that you often have to change a little bit in your setup on the finishing equipment side. And another thing is that the cost models of the inks, for example, is quite different from offset. But I spoke to maybe a potential customer. I think I will not mention his name, but he is actually speaking to you right now about replacing his offset machines with two VC80,000. And when he said it to me, I said to him, I mean, is that now that you can take a Heidelberg press and replace with a VC80,000? And he said, yeah, because often people forget that when they compare, maybe they take ink for ink, which is wrong, because basically it's the total cost of ownership and the total price of production. And he explained to me that he has difficulties getting enough staff, and there is like 7-8 processes to create a print job in analog, where there's like 1 or 2 processes in digital, right? So I guess that conversation is also very important for you guys when you're out in the market, that now we have to calculate a little bit different than we have been used to, right?
Well, so a lot of aspects around that. So if you look to the figures, so I think the current figures is that offset, the volume is going down with 3% per year, and digital is growing between 7 to 9% per year. But that doesn't tell the whole story. That are just the numbers on the volume, and that gives you some scope on the offset to digital. But there are other aspects to it. So of course the market is being driven more and more by short runs, so by personalization, but also the labor factor, as you pointed out, is becoming immensely important. So we know that many of our customers have problems in finding the right staff. Also don't forget that I've seen some Eurostat numbers that the coming years in manufacturing, which is where graphic arts is part of it, the number is that there will be close to 20 million people going on retirement. So, and you have to replace some of those people, of course. So the ability to automate your production, and surely digital lends itself for that very well. So is of course then a benefit. Think also about the impact about artificial intelligence. So that is more and more, we do have a presentation about that, and we will bring that also at Hunkeler Innovation Days. So where we explain what is the impact of artificial intelligence on the graphic arts. So what can it mean, and what are the potential benefits in the graphic arts?
But you already also show that, because on the VC80,000, where you have that AI built in to basically compensate for eventual errors in the print, basically making sure that you have a even more consistent output, and that, you know, the artifacts that you can have can be controlled by let's say the camera inspection system, and how you actually use that data to make the machine better and better, because it learns from its own error, so to speak, right? And so this is an example on how AI is already changing at least some of the parameters in making print even better, right?
also don't forget, and this is one of I did already a presentation about that in 2019. So it's AI is also basically an example of what we call Amara's law. So AI is around since the 50s, but was of course because of technological limitations it didn't break through. So, but Amara's law is telling very clearly, since we humans we regard the technology linear, but technology is exponential. We have the tendency to overestimate in the beginning and underestimate in the long run, and I think that is what you're going to see with AI, the impact on the graphic arts. That's a prediction of mine. So
okay, but let's talk in a few years' time and see how much we have moved forward, right?
Indeed.
One of the things that I would like to talk to you about, and I'm sure your colleagues will talk about that as well at Innovation Day, is that I think that the Ricoh machines, the inkjet machines, have got a lot of recognition in the market for being very diverse on substrates. And I think that is something that, especially in the commercial space, a lot of printers are potentially worried about if they go to inkjet, about the media diversity. What is your view on that, and how do Ricoh address these potential challenges?
So media is of course very important because it's the central consumable that printers are using. So paper, of course, and the different media is quite important. But we have, of course, just like with the other technology aspects, we have been working very closely with customers. I can give one example, not in inkjet, but with the green gift cards. So that's a project that we have done. I think you might have seen it if you were in Telfort, where by customizing our cut sheet toner equipment so that it can print on thicker media, we call it higher caliper, we allow basically the customers to replace plastic gift cards, which is of course,
so you can use
not such an ecological good proposition, to replace by paper alternatives, and that by of course adapting our current cut sheet toner machines for the thicker media. So that is a nice application, an example how we think with the customers and develop around the media so that they can use the media that are suited for that particular application.
I was also thinking it looked really cool that on the VC80,000 you have also solved some of the, let's say, I mean, for people that don't know, that one of the issues about inkjet is, of course, that when you have water-based inkjet, you want to really get rid of the water as fast as possible, right? And on the VC80,000, you have this Firefly technology that looks really cool because you have all these, let's say, it looks like tubes that are blinking with some lamps that basically make sure that you have, instead of having big drums, you on the new machines have smaller, and it looks very compact. It looks like giving you also an advantage because you can, with the, again, I know it's, but the VC80,000 is, I think is super interesting, is that you can run the 150 meters per minute in all the substrates that the machine can use. And I think that again it's a testament to Ricoh that when you experience the challenges of, let's say, substrates, experience the challenges of speed, experience whatever, then you address them by having your engineers looking into how to solve these issues. And I think that when I saw the VC80,000, I think that it's really smart having these smaller kind of, instead of having a lot of energy exposed in one time, you have a lot of energy sources going into the paper. It to me looks like a logic way of solving a complex issue.
So, Morten, but don't forget, you've seen basically the physical element of the drawing, which we call the bugling part. So, because if you look at it, that's a little bit what it does. But don't forget that we always have an holistic approach where we basically go for a problem from all angles. So it's not only the physical part that you see, but it's of course also the ink that is being developed around that to be very successful with that. Yeah. Also the DFE, the paper transport, and a few other things. So it is really a holistic approach to that problem. So it's not one item that we have changed, but it's several elements elements. We see it as basically, we represent the inkjet press always like a set of cogwheels, and each cogwheel is a part of the technology that basically grips into each other and together works for the best solution for the customer.
See, that is really annoying talking to you because you know so much more than me.
I think that Morten, that you have quite a unique vision on the market, and that you have the opportunity to speak to a lot of vendors. So I don't underestimate what you might know.
No, but it was just like, because, then I focused on something that I thought was really cool, and then you take me down saying that, but there's so many elements in that one. And I agree with you. So I was just a little bit annoyed with myself for a few seconds, right? So don't worry about that. But people at Innovation Days, they should of course go to your booth, and I can tell you I was in Lucerne 2 days ago, and I saw the equipment from Ricoh being set up, so I can guarantee for people that it is on its way, and it will be hopefully ready for the weekend before the show. And it is, of course, a tremendous opportunity to talk to your specialist, see the equipment running, see wonderful samples of what this technology can do, and, of course, talk business opportunities. So I have to ask you again, is now the time for moving from analog to digital, or is it still complementary?
So the answer is what we said before, is basically that digital has become of age and can fit now in all the application. I don't think that there is any application that basically doesn't fit it, except, but that's not an application, the long runs where it is economical, more viable still to print with offset. So we're not talking about an end date for offsets, because that would be presumptuous. So because there always will be the right jobs. But if there was ever a time to basically that digital is really moving forward, think about what I said before, Amara's law. So overestimate in the beginning, underestimate in the long run. I think we are there, and that digital is really becoming of age in all of its aspects. So if it's now cut sheet, toner, inkjet, and the real battlefield, I also think in the coming years, if I can speak about battlefield, is inkjet, because inkjet, comparing to toner, has far less technological limits, so because it's a non-impact technology. So there are still some boundaries to go for, where with toner I think you are more or less technologically more and more limited, so the advances are not that big as in inkjet anymore. So that's why I think that in the long run inkjet will be the dominating technology. But hey, we have to see, of course, in the coming years that it will happen.
That's true. On a personal note, Erwin, I was thinking that you have been with different vendors, you have been in the industry for many years. Can you still be surprised about how fast the development goes and how beautiful the prints are? I mean, think of the billions of dots that are spread out on the paper and controlled to the exact little position. I mean, can you still be like this? Wow, this is amazing.
I never stop to be amazed by applications by customers. So that is the truth, and not only by customers. So even in our own company, we have the saying "eat your own dog food." So we use digital prints in the marketing very much for our own activities. And I'm always surprised when somebody comes up with a new paper, a new application. So it is still sometimes feeling like, aha, I didn't know that was possible. So I never stopped to be impressed and wondered by the applications that are being developed. I spoke recently to a customer that I hadn't seen for many years. So we had a beer, Belgian beer, by the way, so together, and he basically, we were reminiscing of the early days of digital printing. We're speaking 2000 and 2004. So, and he came up with some new ideas, and I said, well, you don't stop. And he said, Erwin, it doesn't stop, so it is still possible. And also his customers, so marketing agencies, sometimes people come up with good ideas, and so the connection and the application that he was talking about was the connection between social media and print. So, and there I think we will see in the coming years some very interesting applications being developed between the combination of the social media. Think about SEO and SEA connected to the use of digital print.
I mean, it looks like that we will not be unemployed in any nearby time, right?
So I think also for us, Morten, we are of an age that many people of our age starting to retire. So, and it is not easy, of course, to always fill the gaps. So for the moment, there is more than work enough.
So you mean that you and I, we have a responsibility to keep the labor force intact in our age, and then let's see if somebody can beat us to it at some point, right?
I think one interesting aspect that is both for our customers, the commercial printers, as for us, the vendors, is to basically find and motivate young people to come into the industry, because we still feel that many young people, they consider the graphic arts not as an attractive business, where that is very much because they are not aware about the creativity. So it is a little bit our responsibility, and I think events as Drupa, Hunkeler, but also other events, of course, we have to do our best also to speak to them, not only to our customers.
It's great that you mentioned that, because there is a new thing at Innovation Days this year that you may not even know about, and that is that in the hallway just across the registration area there will be, for the first time, a booth for apprentices. That is actually this is where the young people from Hunkeler is talking to other young people about this industry, and I think that's I think it's great, because there is also girls who print, and there is like these. So I think this, kind of, let's say, embracing some of the challenges. We want to have more women in the industry. We want to have more young people in the industry. We want to have more people of diverse backgrounds in the industry. And yes, you're right that these events like Hunkeler and like Drupa, and I would say that, we have our little non-event in Copenhagen yearly. Maybe even we should also try to see if we can attract more young people so they could get involved with the leaderships of the elder generations to learn from each other. I think that might be something we should look into. But for now, let's focus on Innovation Days and Ricoh, and to everybody watching this. I can tell you that the print samples that you will see from the Ricoh things, I saw them in Telford just a couple of weeks ago, top dollar, and you should really go and see that, because it's amazing what you can do at that speed and on those substrates. And I'm sure that you will be blown away about all the business sides of it. I will leave that to you and to Ricoh to talk about those things, but it looks great.
Thank you, Morten. Nice words.
Fantastic. Thank you, Erwin, and it was truly great to see you again, and I hope that we can soon have a beer together in Brussels. That would be super.
Looking forward to it, Morten.
Great. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.